residents in the city. They had been shutting off water for years, but nowhere on this scale.
Welcome, beloved community. We are back again with yet another installment of the People's Water Board Coalition's Water Wednesday webcast. And as always, I'm here with my beloved co-host, Valerie Jean.
Hi, everyone.
And we can't forget our behind-the-scenes tech guru who keeps us running smooth and consistent week after week. She is absolutely a godsend, Miss Angelica. And today we're going to be giving a few updates and some pertinent information about what's going on around and in our communities. And with that, I'll turn it over to Valerie Jean to talk about some updated event that is coming up.
Well, thanks, Nicole. It's kind of a hot topic show, right? We've got some things, just basic updates and an exciting update at the end. So you got to stay to the end because it's an exciting update. And we love to give you updates that are happy and that feel good, especially when so much work and things and organizing has been into it. So stay to the end because it's going to get good.
Absolutely.
First, we've talked a lot about Line 5 on this show. You all can go and look back and type in, search Water Wednesdays Line 5 if you want to learn everything there is about Line 5, but pretty much it's an oil pipeline, a tar sands oil pipeline that runs through the Great Lakes and 70 different tributaries throughout Michigan and to Canada. It starts in Canada, goes throughout Michigan, and goes back to Sarnia, Canada. And it's really, and it recently we had a show about it recently that it spilled in a Lake St. Clair Shore River into the Detroit River. So we just for an update. So we want Line 5 decommissioned and shut down permanently to protect the water and the people and the animals and the environment. And so they're fast tracking. This administration, that's in the White House right now, is really pressing to fast track all oil and gas projects in the U.S. So Line 5 is no different. They want to put a oil pipeline or a tunnel around it to make it safer, but there's so much that's bad and wrong in that. And you can go to Oil and Water Don't Mix to learn all of the things, all the reasons why it's really bad for folks.
Absolutely.
So you can go there, but we wanted to invite you to a very important event. You got to RSVP right away. The link will be in the description box down below. So it's a no oil tunnel gathering in Mackinac Island. It's on Thursday, May 29th. It starts it's from 9:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. It's on Mackinac Island. They're going to be giving people, if you register, they're going to be giving people tickets to get across from Mackinac Island. So if you can't afford it, maybe you can, carpool with your friends or anything or something like that. But if you can't afford it, they're going to be giving tickets. So each year, business and political leaders from around the state gather for the Detroit area Chamber Mackinac Policy Conference on Mackinac Island. Our window to prevent a disastrous new fossil fuel infrastructure through the heart of the Great Lakes is closing. Decision makers need to hear from the public about the dangers of the proposed tunnel for Enbridge Line 5 pipeline, and hear from us they will. So that's from Oil and Water Don't Mix. We're going to have that link. It's really important that a lot of people show up. Governor Whitmer needs to know. The Army Corps of Engineers need to know. We have showed up and did direct actions at that policy conference in the past. That's where all of the decision makers meet. It's actually, it's like being in the belly of the beast when you're there. It's awful.
Exactly.
It really is. But that's going to be it's really important that people sign up for it and make it there. Work together with your community and your families to make it there and stand against it, because it'd be catastrophic if there was a spill anywhere along the line.
And this is really ironic because last week I was in attendance with thousands of people, most of them industry and local government from the state, with the My Healthy Climate Conference. And all you heard throughout the rooms was the talk of decommissioning fossil fuel usage, focusing on renewables. But one of the things that saddened me about that conference was the governor's announcement that in order to not rely on fossil fuels, they were in talks about reopening the Palisades nuclear power plant, which is just as devastating to our environment and to the water as the fossil fuels are.
Absolutely. And you can look at our Water Wednesday last week to learn all about it. Last week we talked to a gentleman, Kevin Camps, who talked about the Palisades nuclear reactor that they're talking about opening. And you can watch last week's Water Wednesday to learn more about it. But there's just no
Absolutely.
excuse for us to be endangering our water, ourselves, and the environment in such a way. Certainly not by tar sands, and certainly not by nuclear energy. Those things are not safe for us. And any politician that's telling you that they are, or that a tunnel around a pipeline would stop a catastrophic oil spill, is just they're flat out lying to you. And
Yeah,
that's dangerous. We have
that's
to
like putting a
remember these
balloon
people
around
lie.
something. As soon as the pressure builds up, it will burst.
Right. And talking about people lying, right, Nicole? So you've been trying to get updates about what's happening in Southwest. Did the water get turned back on?
Absolutely.
What? Nobody knows. Let's talk
I've
about that, Nicole.
scoured the internet. I've scoured DWSD and GLEWA's websites, and the last update I can
On the
find any
flood in
information
Southwest
on
Detroit.
was March 17th, and that was from our local WDIV Click on Detroit News 4.
hmm
And the article is entitled "1 Month Later, Where Things Stand After the Southwest Detroit Water Main Break."
And that was March 17th. That's the last
March
thing.
17th, which was a month after it occurred.
Yeah.
It
Yeah. So
occurred
you know.
in mid-February. And what they were saying is that residents that live near the areas of Beard and Rowan Streets, how they woke up to all this massive flooding, and that recovery areas continued, but many were questioning if something like that could happen in their neighborhood as well. Which, to answer that question from a layman, yes, it could. Because the previous neighborhood I lived in had water main breaks twice a year, every year. In the
It's an
spring, when the
infrastructure issue. The
yes, it's
infrastructure
an infrastructure
is
issue, and what it caused because
until you
of the
fix it,
inclement
everybody's in
weather.
danger. Mm-hmm.
With the inclement weather in Michigan, we found that in the winter when it got super cold, we'd have a water main break. And then we would have another one in the spring when I guess everything contracted and expanded from the cold, the thawing out, we would have another one. Now, it was not as catastrophic as what happened in Detroit, in Southwest Detroit, but thinking about just the fact of that constantly happening to that infrastructure and they're just doing patch jobs, eventually that could happen. And so one of my main concerns, particularly with this occurring in Southwest Detroit, is two main things. One, GLEWA is over that area, and GLEWA basically has vocalized in the past that they're not responsible for our infrastructure because that's Detroit.
But they are.
But
They're the authority, right? They were
they
given
are
the
the
authority,
Great Lakes
but they
Water
are,
Authority.
right?
No, not the Water Commission, not the Water Department. They're
Took
the
away any kind of
authority.
decision making from the people to you,
They took
so you
the
can hold
city of
yourself
Detroit's
accountable.
power of decision making away and put it in their hands.
Yeah, we're gonna have to. There's gonna have to be public pressure to
It
hold
is.
GLEWA
There's going to have to be
accountable to
protests. There's
start
going to have to
making
be
those
direct
infrastructure
action.
updates.
There's
They
going to have
have
to be
to.
direct action. And
Yeah.
the second thing that weighs very heavily on my heart is that I know there are probably quite a few undocumented residents living in that area,
They're
and
completely silenced.
they're completely silenced. Where do they seek help at? Where they feel comfortable, where they feel safe, where they feel that they will not be turned into ICE or other government officials. They're suffering in silence, and that weighs heavily on my humanity.
Yeah. Yeah, it
Because
does.
no one should have to suffer through anything like that in silence. I heard a
And no
lady who
human
I
is
admire
illegal on
deeply
stolen land.
Monday make a statement in regards to water. And what she said is, we are not a third world country. Why is this allowed to be happening in a country that has all the resources, enough resources to consistently give billions of dollars to other countries? Why is this happening? Why do we have residents that are so fearful for their very lives that they won't even seek help, even if it is readily available?
It's the
That is
situation that we're in.
That's the situation
grave.
we're in, and it's devastating, and it hurts my heart to know that any other human being is going through this. I don't care about race, creed, color, nationality. I don't care. At the basis of
We're
everything,
all
we are
human,
all human, and we
and no human
deserve
is
the
illegal.
basic
The earth was
human
made for all of
decency
us.
treatment that anyone would deserve. And it goes on to say that families describe the way they described the onslaught of this water main break was that their houses were shaking literally as if something had been exploded or an
Had to been
earthquake was
so
happening.
traumatic.
Can you imagine how devastatingly fearful that is?
Yeah.
And
And it was so
then
cold.
the thing is some families were able to return within the 3 to 4 weeks after, but many families still are not able to return. There's a fear that I read in this article of residents saying that their houses may be burglarized while they're unoccupied, waiting to get to what's going on. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah, I know that that FEMA wasn't a whole lot of help throughout this. That the help that people did get was from community, and that's how Detroiters roll.
but the thing
That's what
is
we
that
do. We
FEMA
take
could have
care of
been
each
of
other.
more help, but the city chose to decide to try to handle it themselves
Yeah.
and not seek
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of people
the
couldn't get
federal
help. The only thing that
opportunities.
you had restaurants, you had community members and organizations,
Some
and
of the foods that they were feeding them were not the healthiest, and they were
no, the
also
food was
not
nasty.
culturally what they were accustomed to eating.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
that,
You
you
can't
know,
trust on the
and
city or FEMA. We gonna have to take care of each other, and that's
we
exactly
are.
what happened.
We are. And the thing is that many homeowners haven't had anything installed. They're trying to remain optimistic because they say they see some movement and progress, but these are the ones that were willing to come and seek help. The thing that bothers me is that knowing that this was caused by an infrastructure issue or a lack of maintenance of the infrastructure, why did you make it so difficult where people had to just go seek out assistance? Assistance should immediately have been brought in and dropped in and made readily available to every single solitary resident affected by that water main break. Because there are so many barriers, like I said, such as being undocumented. There are people in Southwest Detroit that don't speak English. That's
Well,
another
it's not even
barrier.
just that. Maybe their parents died and they still live in the house and they don't
That
have their
also,
name on the house.
exactly,
There's a
their
whole
name
bunch
isn't
of
on
it.
the deed.
Maybe you went through a house fire at some point in time, lost all your documentation. You don't have a social security. All the
That
things
too.
all the
There's
hoops that
so
people had to
many.
jump through. It's
There's
way
so
more than
many
just right.
barriers that
Although
should not
immigration
have been a
is certainly a
barrier.
biggie.
It should
Yeah,
not have
it
been a
shouldn't be.
barrier. It should have been
It should
just
never be.
if you had an address, if you were in a house and you were now displaced, you receive assistance. That's all it should
That's
have
right.
been.
That's right.
DWSD says they have an asset management program that they're using to evaluate the risk of failure of, I guess, the water main based on the consequences and the probability of failure. The program prioritizes critical infrastructure such as the schools, the hospital, and the public transit routes. So they're focusing on those first and foremost before they actually get to residential housing.
Yeah. Yeah, of course they are. Well, that was one of our sad updates. We do have two really good updates.
Yes,
That one always
we do.
frustrates me because there's so
It
much human harm
does.
and environmental harm in it, and it's all when it comes to infrastructure, it's because we're too busy spending money on wars and not
We have to
not on the
realize
stuff that we
that
need to take care of people. So it
Detroit
always
is
bothers
split
me.
into different neighborhoods, but as a city as a whole, we're all neighbors and we need to all reach out and help in any way we can. Whether it's
We only have
calling,
ourselves. That's all
simply calling, putting pressure on DWSD and Gleewood to get out there and fix the problem.
After an extremely devastating and sad lame duck session
It
at the
was.
end of 2024, where water affordability is now back on the table in the Michigan legislature. So we are very excited to hear that. Michiganders, people throughout Michigan have a hard time paying their water bills, and so we need safety protections for the people. And so we're really happy that last week that water affordability is back on the table, and we're going to need everybody to get involved and help make it happen. So in the weeks coming up, we will be asking folks to come and join meetings and help strategize and figure out what we can do to make sure that every Michigander has safe, affordable water, because it saves lives, right? We know that
Absolutely.
people don't have water or water insecure, that it's stressful, it's harmful, and we don't want people to experience that. We want people to have good quality of life, and we obviously don't want a health crisis on our hands. So
Absolutely
we
not.
will keep you abreast as to the things that are going on with that in the future. And Nicole, right, our dear friend Andrea Pierce and the Anishinaabe
Yes.
Caucus had a huge win. Do you want to tell us about it? This is the
Yes, they
exciting
had
part,
a
guys. This is the
tremendous
fun stuff.
win, and I'm so happy to be able to say it that she's asking any of the Indigenous graduates this year to take pictures of them graduating in their native regalia, and
Because it's
send it
now
in to
legal for
her.
them to wear
Because
it.
it is now legal for them to wear it, which I'm so happy for, because that's a huge win for all of us.
The
Because
Anishinaabe Caucus has been working on this for so long. Because they should be able to wear their cultural regalia, right?
Exactly.
To graduate. And it's just such a special thing for
And
the
this may
Indigenous
be an
community.
open door for other cultures to be able to wear their native regalia to graduations and celebrate
right.
in their own culture. I think this is a huge win. I'm so happy for it. I
Yep.
can't wait to see some of the Indigenous students that are graduating and be able to just ask questions about their native garb and know which tribes they're from. That is just
Yeah.
so awesome.
Yeah, and
And
she's going to gather like all the photos. She's hoping people will send them in, right?
please send them in to Andrea Pierce, or if even send them to us, and we'll
Yeah,
make
well-
sure she gets
Well,
them.
they can send them to the Anishinaabe Caucus Facebook
You can
page.
send them to the
That's what
Anishinaabe
we're going to put the
Anishinaabe
link for
Caucus.
that.
It will be linked in the descriptions, and we want to admire all of their beautiful faces and their beautiful garb, and we are so we're so proud that this deserving work was rewarded, and that this is a huge win.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. So we want people to understand the importance of the photos. They will be used to push the bill for higher education for Indigenous graduates. I think this is a vitally important cause. And when you go to the Anishinaabe Caucus, there is a form you can fill out for that and to show your support, and even call your legislator any way you can support them push. Let's do it. Let's get out there and do
together.
it.
And that the form link will be in the description box down
It
below
will.
too. All the links that
Everybody
you need
deserves
to
a fighting
get right to
chance.
it and learn about it will be in the description box down below.
Yes.
Thanks, Nicole. Well, I love it when we get to have a happy ending. To our viewers, it's getting sunny outside. May Day's
Yes.
coming up. We're going to be in the streets at Roosevelt Park on May Day. And we'll put that information is on the PWBC Facebook page and Instagram page. So you can go and check out the details for that. We hope to see you in the streets. And, you know, it's gearing up to be one of those years where we're going to change the world. It's going to be great. I really believe in us and in people. And until next time, take care of each other and try to stay afloat.